Right, she's stuck in traffic. Do we wait or do we go?
Well, April has to read the whole thing. She's gonna read the whole thing. The letter. You read the whole letter, right? I do, yeah. Yeah, so if she's read her package, she's read the letter, it's gonna take 5 minutes to read it.
Can we start? Okay. Call the meeting to order. And shall we stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance? Roll call.
Chair Placotti,
Here.
Commissioner Yannick,
Here.
Commissioner Wright,
Present.
Commissioner Solstrich,
Here.
and Vice Chair Tennyson will be here, but she's absent right now.
Thank you. Any written communications?
None at this time.
Report of the committee board secretary?
Nothing to report out this evening.
Report of the chairperson and members of the committee board? Does anybody have anything? Nothing. Report from city council? She's not here, so nothing. Community forum?
Through the chair, I went ahead and started a 2-minute timer for interested parties to sign up for the community forum. That timer is reflected on the top left corner of your screen. At the conclusion of that timer, if anybody signs up, I will be sure to let you know, but at this current time, we do not have anybody signed up for this item.
Thank you. So we need to do an approval of the consent calendar and approval of the prior agenda. And they can be a motion of one. Can I get a motion?
I motion we approve the consent agenda and the action and the calendar for the next.
I second.
Okay, on to the action calendar for tonight.
Oh, you need to vote.
Oh, sorry, right, I was just moving us along.
Okay, we're going to do a voice vote. Chair Placotti,
Yes?
Commissioner Yannick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
and Commissioner Solstrich.
Yes.
All right, motion passes with Commissioner Tennyson absent.
So on to the action calendar. So it's approving the title and specifications of new classified position of fire plans examiner.
All right, so this evening, the recommendation. Oh.
Through the chair, there were no speakers for the community forum.
Okay, so action item 10A is approved title and specification of the new classified position of fire plans examiner. Our recommendation this evening, so approve the title and specification for the new classification of fire plans examiner and place in the classified service of the city's classification plan. The background and discussion for this item. In February 2025, the fire department came to Human Resources to express concern that an employee working in the position of fire prevention inspector, which is a non-safety, might be working outside the scope of their classification. When this happens, it is incumbent upon Human Resources to conduct a study to determine if that is the case, and if so, in what capacity they are working. Human Resources conducted a study and determined that the incumbent is currently performing duties outside the scope of the fire prevention inspector non-safety position. The majority of the duties being performed by this incumbent are within the scope of a fire plans examiner. After the study concluded, the fire department was presented with the option to remove the fire plans examiner duties so that the incumbent's duties fall within the scope of their current classification, or to create the correct classification which reflects the duties the incumbent currently performs and pay the incumbent accordingly. In this case, if the fire department were to remove the fire plans examiner related duties, there would be a significant impact on the review, processing, completion, stamping, and posting of city and fire permits for land development, new construction, and remodels. There would be delay in conducting fire inspection for building permits and special events, as well as delay in conducting fire and life safety inspections for the state mandated occupancies. Therefore, the classification specification of fire plans examiner was developed to clearly state the important responsibilities and essential job duties performed by the incumbent. For future job vacancies, or for future vacancies within the fire department, it is the city's intent to fill them with the new classification of fire plans examiner. Based on the job duties, qualifications, and other job-specific functions, the community of interest for the position of fire plans examiner lies with IBEW. This classification was presented to IBEW prior to this meeting. Civil Service Rule 3.1 states that all positions shall be allocated to either the classified or unclassified service as provided by Charter Section 801. The Civil Service Commission is tasked with considering whether a position is appropriately classified or unclassified and reviews the specifications and title of new positions. Civil Service Rule 4.5 states, in part, whenever a new position is authorized or created, the Commission shall allocate or reallocate such position by assignment of title, either one already in the classification plan, or shall prepare a new specification and new class title appropriate to the position. The Commission's role is to review and approve the titles and specifications of new classifications. Upon approval, staff will seek City Council authorization to amend the positions and salaries resolution to add necessary positions and set salary ranges for the new classification pursuant to the Vallejo Municipal Code, Section 2.60.340A. The Human Resources Department's recommendation is to approve the appropriate classification of fire plans examiner and place them within the classified service of the city. Is there any questions? I also
Yes.
have interim Chief Rustis here as well from the fire department to answer any questions you may have.
We do have some questions. Normally, when we get a job that's going from one to the other, we can see what the differences are. We didn't get anything that told us what their change in scope is, what they were doing, if most of their jobs were within or not. So can we get an explanation on that first?
So when it's a reclass study, when it's a new classification, there's no edits. So the fire prevention inspector is going to remain a classification and a position within the city. So we're not making any edits to the fire prevention inspector classification. We created a brand new classification for fire plans examiner. That's why there aren't any edits on this classification.
Okay, so what's the difference?
This is going to allow people to come to the build in the city, one point of contact in the fire department. When we have inspectors, they rotate on where they go, but having a plans examiner, you're going to submit your plans to them. If you have any questions, you can call that person. You have a designated person to talk to throughout your inception to your final inspection. This employee was doing both jobs. He was doing inspections and doing the plans examining. So it was hit or miss whether they'd get back in contact with them. This gives us a dedicated employee that if anybody has questions about what to do with their building permits or questions or plans, it goes to this individual.
I'll also add to what the chief said. This also requires a different level of technical expertise as it pertains to actual plans. So the fire plans examiner will handle the permitting process prior to completion of construction, and fire prevention inspection is typically done after the building exists or after. It's more of a maintenance, a prevention inspection, right? They're going out and inspecting properties after they've already been developed.
And if I can just add, there's a building in town that has 2 fire panels. One would be like right here, and the other one would be on the second floor. Because we didn't have a plans examiner that got through, so when we have to set fire alarm, reset them, we have to have 2 people. So that kind of stuff won't get missed by having a dedicated person that only looks at the plans.
So I have one more question and then open it up to everybody else. So this person is conducting inspections also, or
Yes,
not? Okay.
he is doing both jobs.
So I don't mean to harp on this, but I still don't understand the difference besides them being a point of contact. Is that really the main
That's-
difference? Okay.
That's huge for people that want to do construction, because if this person's out of the office for the day doing inspections, they can't get a hold of them. So we have inspectors that just do inspections, and he will be from inception to finished product. He is their one point of contact. You know, he'll probably give them their cell phone so they can communicate.
Okay. Okay, other questions?
Yeah, through the chair. This letter to us, the background and discussion, the majority of duties being performed by this incumbent are within the scope of a fire plans examiner, reads as though that job description existed before. But it looks like what you're asking of us is to approve a new job description. So who was doing the work before? Who had that written into their job description before?
So the fire prevention manager also has plan duties included in their class spec. And the reason why it says a fire plans examiner is because when we look at comparable agencies, that is what the scope of work falls within. So it's not, we don't have an existing classification for fire plans examiner. So when we say it falls within that scope, we're talking about throughout the study, we determined that in other agencies, this is the classification that's handling those duties.
So by default, the inspector, the fire prevention inspector was assigned by the manager to do this job? Or like, how did it get put into the inspector's scope?
He probably was qualified or had the
No, the
classes to do
inspectors.
it, and I think they needed help.
Well, it wasn't put, are you talking about the journey level fire plans?
The non-safety prevention
Oh, the prevention
inspector.
inspector? So it wasn't put into the class spec for the fire prevention inspector. It was out of operational need for the department after their fire prevention manager retired, and then doing an organizational kind of operational analysis on what needed to be done. I know they're also implementing a new software. And so all of those things led to, we need someone actually dedicated to plans examination, and that plans examination requires more technical knowledge of like schematics and building design and those types of things. It's a certification that can be acquired separate from the inspection series. If you think of it in terms of like building inspector, the building inspectors are inspecting buildings after they already exist, but you have like a plan check engineer or a building plans examiner who's looking at those plans before those homes or developments even exist. So that's kind of the difference here is you have the prevention inspectors that are going out and inspecting existing properties or buildings, and you have the plans examiner who's reviewing those plans and helping developers and homeowners through the process before it even gets to the prevention inspector piece.
So a study was conducted by other Bay Area other Bay Area fire departments. So this is a job description that exists elsewhere. And it was
Correct.
missing in our fire department for so it's just,
I don't think we've ever had a.
Yeah, it hasn't existed in our classification list ever.
and when you do the study, are you looking for any other gaps in our fire department job duties or job positions that,
During the study, we do look at closely related positions. So we looked at the fire prevention manager and the fire prevention inspectors to make sure it made sense to have another position in there that was doing plans examination specifically. The fire prevention manager is more so overseeing the work of the fire prevention inspectors. And I believe that before he retired, the fire prevention manager was doing some of the plans inspection, but I also know that there was work done through consulting as well.
that's the end of my questions. Thank you, Chair.
I was curious, does the incumbent that we're talking about reclassifying have all the certifications and qualifications already? So that it's not you got to get this done in 90 days type of thing?
No, he already possesses all of the required certifications.
Okay, and so we're going to keep the position that is already filled. Is that considered like a training position to get to this level, or is it just something else? I mean, it sounds like it was kind of used that way.
The fire prevention inspector?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if they're interested in going into plans examination, they can take the courses that are required to get certified as a plans examiner for fire-specific plans. And once they have the certifications, they would be qualified to move into the fire plans examiner, of course, ensuring they have the proper experience as well, coupled with the certification. So there is, if they want to move into plans examination, they can move into the plans examiner, or if they prefer fire prevention inspection, they can move up fire prevention manager, although I do think there's some plan stuff required for
So
the
you're giving them
manager
a
as
career
well.
path,
I'm sorry?
a career path opportunity.
Correct, if they want to move to the plans examination career ladder, yeah.
It would be inspector, plans check, and then prevention and.
Interesting.
So prior to this position being created, who was doing the exams prior to this employee?
Was the prevention manager that was retired out, then we brought in a contract prevention manager because we're going to be looking for one. And then he needed help, so this employee had the certification, so we brought him up to help out. And he's been helping out more of this than his other duties. So that's why we want to reclassify him. So you get him compensated correctly and have the right job description.
So then now we'll have two qualified employees, the examiner himself and the manager that shares those responsibilities. Is that correct?
The fire plans examiner will be responsible for the majority of the tasks associated with plans examination, and the fire prevention manager is really to oversee both the prevention inspection and the plans examination.
He's also qualified to
He
do
can,
the
yes,
plan-
or
plan
they,
exams
yeah,
too.
whoever fills that spot, because it's vacant right now, whoever fills the fire prevention manager position would also be able to contribute to pieces of the plans examination. Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other questions?
Is this then becomes budget neutral? Because you already have a position or person doing the job, or do you have to backfill the position?
So I think that when the reclassification happens, they're going to end up deleting the fire prevention inspector and adding the fire plans examiner. And I think there is a small delta associated with the change.
I don't know if that's something I'm supposed to can ask or not, but we're doing budget right now at the hospital, so.
But with the plans checker, we'll be able to recoup some of his costs in checking the plans. So it won't be a huge delta.
Okay.
Any other questions? Shall we do a vote? Get a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the title and specification for the new classification of fire plans examiner and place in the classified service of the city's classification plan.
I second.
All right. We'll do a verbal vote. Chair Plicotti,
Yes, approve.
Vice Chair Tennyson,
Yes, approve.
Commissioners Yannick,
Approved.
Wright,
Approve.
and Sostrich.
Approve.
Motion passes unanimously.
But can I ask that in the future, I mean, I understand that they're a new job, but when you're telling us that the scopes, it would be helpful for us when we're trying to read them beforehand what those scopes were so that we can see the differences. I think it would just be helpful for us and could probably save some questions that we're asking because we don't have anything to look at to judge anything by. So it'd be really helpful for us.
I'll be sure to include that in future staff reports, the
Thanks.
explanation of the difference in scope of work.
Yeah, it's just helpful. I
Yes.
really appreciate that.
Understood.
Thank you.
Through the chair. Interim Chief, please thank the employee who stepped up and covered in the gap. Thank you.
Okay. So move for an adjournment? It's not a move, it's just an adjourn. Okay, we're adjourning at 5:37. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.